Picture this. It's draft day. You are an NFL general manager. The clock is ticking. You have the first overall pick. Do you take the franchise quarterback, the elite pass rusher, or do you take the guy who is going to touch the ball 300 times a year and get hit on every single play? Believe it or not, there was a time when taking a running back with the first overall pick wasn't just common, it was the smart move. Since the AFL-NFL merger in 1970, 5 running backs have been selected #1 overall. Some became the greatest players in history, literally changing the way the game is played. Others, well, let's just say they blew out their knees before they could even cash their first paycheck. In this video, we are going chronologically through every single running back taken #1 overall since 1970 to see who became a Hall of Famer and who became a cautionary tale. Starting all the way back in 1977 with a guy whose story is one of the most heartbreaking tragedies in NFL history. 1977, the tragedy of Ricky Bell. The year is 1977. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are an expansion team coming off an 0-14 season. They are desperate for a star. With the first overall pick, they select Ricky Bell out of USC. Bell was an absolute beast in college. He finished second in Heisman voting to Tony Dorsett and ran for over 1,400 yards in his junior year. The Buccaneers saw him as the cornerstone of their franchise. His rookie year was tough. He rushed for 436 yards on a team that literally couldn't score points. But in 1979, Bell exploded. He rushed for 1,263 yards and led the Buccaneers to their first ever playoff win against the Eagles. He carried the ball 38 times in that game. He was the heart and soul of the team. But tragically, Bell's career was cut short by a rare skin disease called dermatomyositis. He was forced to retire in 1983 and sadly passed away in 1984 at just 29 years old. While his stats might not look like a Hall of Famer's, Ricky Bell is a legend in Tampa Bay. He turned a losing franchise into a winner, even if it cost him his body. 1978, the Earl Campbell era. The very next year, 1978, the Houston Oilers held the #1 pick. They didn't overthink it. They drafted the most violent runner in the history of college football, Earl Campbell, the Tyler Rose from Texas. And if you want to talk about worth the pick, this is the gold standard. Earl Campbell didn't just run, he punished people. He won the MVP award in his first 3 seasons. He led the league in rushing his first 3 years. In 1980, he rushed for over 1,900 yards in a 16-game season, a record at the time. Defenders were terrified of him. There's a famous clip of him running over Rams linebacker Isaiah Robertson, where he literally tears the guy's jersey off. His career was short because of that violence. He only really played 6 elite seasons before his body broke down. But nobody in Houston regrets this pick. He is a first-ballot Hall of Famer and an absolute icon. The Oilers traded up to get him, and he delivered on every single promise. 1980, the Billy Sims what if. In 1980, the Detroit Lions were on the clock. They had the first overall pick and selected Billy Sims from Oklahoma. And man, did he look like the next Barry Sanders before Barry Sanders. Sims was electric. He made the Pro Bowl in his first 3 seasons. He was turning the Lions into a contender almost overnight. In 1981, he rushed for over 1,400 yards and scored 13 touchdowns. He could catch the ball out of the backfield, he could make people miss in a phone booth, and he had breakaway speed. But in 1984, in a game against the Vikings, he suffered a catastrophic knee injury. Back then, sports medicine wasn't what it is today. That injury ended his career instantly. He retired with over 5,000 rushing yards in just 5 seasons. If he had stayed healthy, we might be talking about Billy Sims as one of the top 5 running backs of all time. He is one of the biggest what-ifs in NFL history. 1981, George Rogers and the Lawrence Taylor mistake. The very next year, 1981, the New Orleans Saints had the first pick. They took George Rogers, the Heisman Trophy winner from South Carolina. Now, Rogers actually had a great career. He led the league in rushing as a rookie with over 1,600 yards. He was a Pro Bowler. He eventually went to the Washington Redskins and won a Super Bowl in 1987, rushing for over 1,200 yards that season. So why is this pick controversial? Because the Saints passed on Lawrence Taylor to take him. Lawrence Taylor went number 2 overall to the Giants and immediately became the greatest defensive player in NFL history. While Rodgers was a very good running back, he wasn't LT. This draft is often used as an example of why you draft for impact over need. Rodgers had drug issues early in his career, and injuries slowed him down, but he still retired with over 7,000 yards and a ring. Not a bust by any means, but definitely not the best player in that draft. 1986, the Bo Jackson saga. Now this is where the list gets crazy. In 1986, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had the first overall pick again. They selected Bo Jackson from Auburn. But there was a problem. Bo Jackson hated the Buccaneers. Before the draft, Buccaneers owner Hugh Culverhouse flew Bo Jackson on a private jet to visit the team facility. He told Bo that the trip was cleared by the NCAA. It wasn't. Because of that trip, Bo lost his remaining college baseball eligibility. Bo was furious. He told the Bucs, "If you draft me, I will not play for you. I will play baseball instead." The Bucs didn't believe him. They drafted him number 1 overall anyway. Bo held true to his word. He signed a contract with the Kansas City Royals to play baseball. The Bucs wasted the number 1 overall pick on a guy who never played a single down for them. They eventually forfeited his rights in the 1987 draft, where the Raiders picked him up in the 7th round. We all know what happened next. Bo became a cultural icon with the Raiders, running over Brian Bosworth and running up walls. But for Tampa Bay, this was a total disaster. 1995, the curse of Ki-Jana Carter. We have to jump forward almost a decade to find the next running back taken number 1 overall. In 1995, the Cincinnati Bengals traded up to the top spot to select Ki-Jana Carter from Penn State. Carter was supposed to be the perfect modern running back. He was fast, 4.3 speed, explosive, and could catch the ball. He was the Marshall Faulk of the 90s. The Bengals gave him a $7.1 million signing bonus, a record at the time. But on the 3rd carry of his first preseason game, before he ever played a real NFL snap, tragedy struck. He tore his ACL trying to make a cut against the Detroit Lions. He missed his entire rookie season. When he came back in 1996, he wasn't the same player. The explosiveness was gone. He struggled with injuries for the rest of his career, bouncing around to Washington and New Orleans, but never rushing for more than 464 yards in a season. This is widely considered the pick that scared NFL teams away from taking running backs at number 1 for a long time. It proved how fragile the position is. The modern era. Why no more number 1 RBs? Since Ki-Jana Carter in 1995, not a single running back has been taken with the first overall pick. Think about that. It has been almost 30 years. We've seen great prospects: Reggie Bush, Adrian Peterson, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, Bijan Robinson, but none of them went number 1. Why? The game changed. Teams realized that the shelf life of a running back is short. Most elite backs only have 4 to 5 prime years before they break down. Quarterbacks, tackles, and pass rushers can play for 10 to 15 years. Also, the analytics movement showed that you can find elite running back production later in the draft. Look at Alvin Kamara, 3rd round, Aaron Jones, 5th round, or Isaiah Pacheco, 7th round. Teams decided it wasn't worth spending the most valuable asset in the sport, the number 1 pick, on a position that is so dependent on the offensive line and so prone to injury. Honorable mentions, the almost number 1s. While we haven't had a number 1 pick at running back since '95, we have had some guys get close. Reggie Bush, 2006. He was the presumptive number 1 pick for months. The Houston Texans had the pick, but at the last second, they signed Mario Williams, defensive end, instead. Bush fell to number 2 to the Saints. He won a Super Bowl, but never became the superstar runner people expected. Saquon Barkley, 2018. The Giants took him at number 2 overall. He won Rookie of the Year and looked like a Hall of Famer, but injuries, torn ACL, slowed him down. He's now revitalized his career with the Eagles, but the Giants were heavily criticized for taking a running back that high while they needed a quarterback. Ezekiel Elliott, 2016. Taken 4th overall by the Cowboys. Led the league in rushing twice, but his contract eventually became an albatross for the team. Bijan Robinson, 2023. Taken 8th overall by the Falcons, the highest drafted back in years. He looks elite, but still 7 teams passed on him. The bust factor breakdown. So let's look at the stats. Since 1970, we have had 5 running backs taken number 1 overall. Ricky Bell, 1977, good player, tragic ending. Hit. Earl Campbell, 1978, Hall of Famer, home run. Billy Sims, 1980, elite talent, injury shortened, hit. George Rogers, 1981, very good but passed on LT, hit/miss. Bo Jackson, 1986, refused to play. Massive bust for the drafting team. Ki-Jana Carter, 1995, injury bust, massive bust. That is a 50% hit rate if you count Bell and Sims as hits despite the injuries. But if you are looking for long-term franchise cornerstones, only Earl Campbell truly fits that description for the team that drafted him. Compare that to cornerbacks taken number 1 overall. Peyton Manning, John Elway, Troy Aikman, Eli Manning, Matthew Stafford. The ceiling for a QB is just so much higher. What about the pre-merger era? Just for fun, let's look quickly at a few legends taken number 1 before 1960. O.J. Simpson, 1969. The Bills took him number 1. He became the first player to rush for 2,000 yards in a season. Obviously, his post-career life is complicated, but on the field, he was worth the pick. Jim Brown, 1957. Taken 6th overall, but widely considered the greatest ever. Paul Hornung, 1957, taken number 1 overall with the Packers, Hall of Famer. It shows that in the old NFL, where running the ball was 90% of the game, taking a back at number 1 was the standard.
The future of the position. Will we ever see a running back go number 1 overall again? Never say never, but it is highly unlikely. For a running back to go number 1 in today's NFL, he would have to be a perfect prospect. He would need to run like Adrian Peterson, catch like Christian McCaffrey, and block like a fullback. And even then, he would probably need to be in a draft class with terrible quarterbacks. The position has been devalued. Contracts are down. Teams are using committees. The days of the bell cow back carrying a franchise for a decade are gone. So, what happened to every running back taken number 1 overall? They gave us some of the most exciting highlights in history. Earl Campbell running over people, Bo Jackson defying physics, Billy Sims flying through the air. But they also gave us heartbreak. Ricky Bell's illness, Ki-Jana Carter's knee, Bo Jackson's hip. It is a position of glory and pain. And while we might not see another one go 1st overall, the legacy of these guys, the ones who carried the weight of a franchise on their shoulders, will live forever. What do you guys think? Is the running back position officially dead in the draft, or will we see a unicorn prospect break the streak? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this trip through NFL history, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.